All right, so we just completed payment plan downsells. And if you get to the end of the 7 steps and someone's like, I still don't want to pay you, or I still don't have the money, either way, you can offer a free trial. And I've run a lot of free trials in my life, and I think there's a wrong way to do them and a better way to do them. And I will explain the better way. So, same vibe as always. Let's break down how I learned this puppy. So, we were scaling Gym Launch and we needed an HR platform. And Layla was looking at all these different platforms and she ended up going with this one. And I was like, well, what made you, pick that platform versus the other? She was like, honestly, they were all more or less the same. But these guys said they charged me $500. And if I attended the 2 or 3 training sessions, they would rebate me the $500. But if I didn't attend the onboarding and training sessions, they would keep it. And so, of course, I attended the sessions and now I know how to use their software and I don't feel like learning anyone else's. And so they actually got a customer and we stayed with that platform for years because of a really interesting way of basically doing a free trial. Now, theirs was they charged and then did a rebate, but I saw the structure and was like, ooh, this is really interesting. And so I was like, what if we did trials like this? And so that's what we started doing. And so I call it a trial with penalty. That sounds ugly. That's how I call it internally. You wouldn't say that to somebody, but it's a trial with penalty. So basically, a customer can try out your product or service for free so long as they meet your terms. For comparison, the win your money back offer, the attraction offer, gives customers the chance to get their money back if they meet the terms. In a trial with penalty offer, customers only pay if they don't meet the terms. So the win your money back and the free trial with penalty are virtually the same offer. We're just changing when they pay and how they pay. So they'll mirror the actions and results that you used in win your money back. But this time we use avoiding fees rather than winning your money back as the incentive for adherence. So they avoid penalties rather than get or losing their money that they paid originally. All right, so with a trial with penalty, this isn't here's my thing, see if you like it. It's here's my thing, you get it for free so long as you do this stuff, which makes you a perfect fit for my next offer. And if you don't, then you have to pay for it. So it's kind of like a win-win for you because if they don't do it, then they pay. And if they do it, then they're going to be really likely to buy the next thing. Now, I'm going to give you some wait, so if they don't do it, then they pay and they didn't want to pay originally. I'll cover how to get around that weirdness. Let's say you normally close 3 out of 10 people on your attraction offer, and now you downsell another 4 on a trial with penalty. Then after the trial finishes, you upsell 3 of them. So you go from 3 sales to 6 sales, which doubles your customers. I use this as a downsell, but it could also be used as a front end. So I don't prefer to advertise this. I prefer to present this after someone already said no to giving me money. Some people advertise this as how they get customers. It's up to you. Obviously, that HR company advertised it as how they get customers. So if you really want to help people, convincing them to put some skin in the game is a great way to do it. And so one of my sales rules is that everyone buys something who's qualified. And so I love that as a concept. It's like everyone should buy. Like if they're qualified and we have the thing, every person should buy. The terms may change, but everyone should buy. So here's the difference between trials and penalties and rebates. A trial is you just get a card and then bill them later. A penalty/incentive is you get a card and bill later, and also if they don't complete their activation activities. So the fees are associated with non-consumption and not showing up to other sales consultations. Remember the 4 things we had in the win your money back is you want to have them advertise your business, you want to have them show up for sales consults, you want to do things that get them results, and there's another one. I can't remember what it was, but there's 4, and those are the main ones. All right. So you want to associate them doing the things to get them results, because if they get results, then they'll probably want to buy. All right. So they're not here for a trial. They're here to solve a problem. So solve it, because trials don't do anything. Them taking action is what's going to solve their problem. And if someone has a problem with that, it's an easy thing to get around. Think about the logic. If someone says, I'm not willing to commit to that, you're like, well, do you want the outcome? They're going to say yes. It's like, well, you have to do this stuff to get the outcome. So if you don't plan on doing this stuff, then you're never going to get the outcome. This is just the easiest way that I can give you all this service for free. If you really do want to do this, I do want to do this, great, then you're not going to pay anything because you're going to follow through. And this just gives you added incentive to do it. And if this doesn't work for you, then certainly nothing else will. So let's walk through some examples. So I'll do a B2C version, so business to consumer, and then I'll do a B2B. So let's say you do a business to consumer offer, 28-day, kick that habit blueprint, whatever, right? So you get the trial for free and avoid the penalty fee. To get the trial for free and avoid the penalty fee, you must attend all your consulting calls, post your progress in the group once a week, journal daily in our app, and attend feedback sessions and transformation sessions, aka the upsell opportunities. Business to business offer, 5-day get your first 5 clients challenge. All right. To get the trial for free and avoid the penalty fee, you must send 100 outbound messages per day, report stats on the outbound messages, attend the daily training, post in the group, daily once you've done the homework. Attend your graduation call, which is the upsell opportunity. And so these look really similar to what the Win Your Money Back ones were because they're the same thing. Now, let's say you had a therapy business. So offer a free 28-day breakthrough therapy, free trial plus penalty. You're going to need to do the homework before each session and show up. If you don't do the homework, you're not going to get the results that you want. And if you don't show up, obviously you're not going to get better. This will give you an added incentive to get better faster. So we charge a $50 non-compliance fee for not doing the homework or not doing the session. If you don't do the homework, then we can't help you in the session. Fair enough? You just explain it, how it works. Now, in this 28-day thing, you can have all the fees add up to the exact same amount of money that you would have charged in a Win Your Money Back. So if they have, call it 10 things they have to do over X period of time, and it's a $500 thing, then you charge $50 per thing. Now, if some things are more important than others, let's say sales consultations, then you can make those ones $100 or $150 and the other things $25. You want to weight the prices based on the importance for you as a business and for them getting results. So here's my actual step-down process of how I sell free trials. So number one is you offer the trial last. If someone makes it clear that they don't want your first offer, then downsell the trial with penalty. So here's how it might sound. Well, that sure is a pickle. I'll tell you what. How about we just get you started for free? Would you be okay with that? Great. We can help you out, and if you like it, you can stay. Just let me get your ID and we get the process started. Fair enough? By the way, here's a little savage pro tip if you're in person or you're seeing the person via Zoom. When you ask someone for their ID, they have to take their wallet out. When they take their wallet out, they can't say they forgot their wallet. And so now you get the card, they can hold it up to the camera or they can give it to you in person. And then you take that. And what I like to do is I like to fill out the contract for them for a number of reasons. One is when they fill out the contract, you kind of stare there like a weirdo, which is not fun. So instead you fill out the contract and then you can make jokes about whatever's going on. You're like, oh man, I should show you my picture. It's brutal. Oh, you're from Idaho originally. That's interesting. Oh, you know what? My cousin lives out there, blah, 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 right? You're going through and you're filling this out. And you also make sure that everything's filled out properly and they didn't mess up the form, whatever. So then the way I would do it is I had the card between my fingers, my index fingers, and I would look at their wallet and I'd be like, I'll trade you for whatever card you want to use. And I would motion towards the card, but I have this as collateral. It sounds small, but these tiny things are like how you facilitate sales. So then they would then hand me the card they want to use. And then yet again, I copied the card out because it's very easy for someone to fat finger a number. And then all of a sudden I can't run the card later. So by doing it this way, I made sure that the card number was correct and put in the proper place on the contracts that we're in. If you did an iPad, it works the same way. If you do it on the phone, you can have them show you the card either way. And if you're not the one who's immediately processing transactions, you've got a separate finance team, this becomes more important, especially if there's any delay between purchase and running the transaction. This also avoids the, I don't have the card I want to use, this, I don't have my wallet on me. It gets around all of that stuff. So just a pro tip. All right. So first thing we do, we offer trials last. That's how I'd say it. Always get a credit card. So you record their information, you hold on to the ID, motion for the credit card, say what card do you want to use. Now, they have to leave a card. This is a key point. If they balk, just say, this is going to sound so ridiculous for me to say this. I, believe it or not, failed at closing a lot of free trials in the early days. I had a tough time. People would come in for a 14-day trial and I'd be like, awesome, let's get you signed up. And I'd be like, so what card do you want to use? They're like, you said it was free. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, I'll give you my card after the 14 days. And I was like, I mean, okay, I guess. And I didn't know what to do. So this line came out of my mouth. And then I don't want to say I literally never missed another trial again, but I really want to say I never missed another trial again. So here's how it would go. They would say, we do the whole contract, and I'd be like, awesome, what card can I put down just so I can complete your account profile? So one is it's not to bill it, it's just to complete your account profile. And if they balked and they were like, I thought this thing was free. I'm like, oh, 100% it is. This is just how we've always done it. And by appealing to authority, this hypothetical person who makes policy and rules, everyone just says, okay, and they just hand it to you. I have no idea why it works. I just know that it works. And say, this is how we've always done it. That's it. You just shrug and you say, it's how we've always done it. Always sell staying and paying. So remember, at this point, it's actually a takeaway sale for you now. So they've agreed, you try to sell them and you're at the end and they're like, it feels like they're like not as interested. Now you have to remember the leverage shifts because now you're giving them stuff for free. They have to prove why they deserve to get it after you said they had to pay for it. So you say, listen, I'm only going to do this and extend this honor to you of me working for free to help you get this thing if you do some things for me. All right. So you ask directly. So if this program got you the result, will you stay long term? If the person says no, fuck it. The whole point of the trial, the whole point of the thing is to get them as a customer. If they're not interested in that, fine. Now, if you advertise a free trial, then you need to offer whatever you advertise. But the way I said, remember, I use it last. It's not what I advertise. I offer it under terms. And so you don't want them to begin with if they don't agree to staying long term. And the reason I ask that is I don't want you to try it. I want you to get results. And out of integrity, I want to set realistic goals. You're not going to hit your long term goals during this trial, just to be really perfectly clear. But you will establish habits that will help you get there. And we're going to help you do that for free. But if you want to get your long term results, you're going to have to stay on after. I just want to make sure that you're not looking for some sort of quick fix. When you say it like that, people are like, got it. You're like, because listen, I can't ethically promise you that. And as soon as you say that, you now have the moral high ground. They can't say shit to you. All right. And so that's how you sell staying and paying. So now that you've said, okay, I'll do it for free, everyone's like, okay, sure, 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 I'll do it for free. And you're like, oh, no, 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 not so fast, Susan. If you get the result you stay in, okay. Do you think you're going to accomplish this in the time period? You're going to get progress. You're not going to get to your goal. I want to set that expectation up front. So as long as you're comfortable with this, I'm happy to give this little test run, this Kickstarter for you. But I'm only in this for the long term, Susan. And I think, and I want to ask you directly, are you in this for the long term? They say yes, you're in. You have now sold the idea of them staying long term. If you can't sell that for free, one, you need to work on sales, but they also might just not be a good prospect. Step 4. So now you sell consumption commitment. So explain the fees after getting the card. Very key. So at this point in the sale, right, we said, cool, let's get the trial started. I have your ID. Let's get the card, sign it. You sell the idea of staying long term. Awesome. Now, once we have the card, we have the payment information. Now we basically get agreement on terms. It's much easier to get agreement on terms post getting purchasing method rather than pre. I'm just giving you guys this off of years of experience. Just use it if you want. All right. So I say something like this. I say, listen, so we're going to do our part as long as you do yours. And that's fair, right? Okay, cool. So now I just ask that you bet on yourself. So if you miss or skip any stuff, your results are going to suffer. So we charge to keep you on track. If you miss, no big deal. You'll get dinged a little bit, but it's not going to get you off track. It'll get you back on track with that little ding. All right. So if you follow through, you're going to get all of this stuff that I told you earlier for free. So this is the best way that we can get you amazing results and keep it free for you. So it's the best of both worlds. Now that last line I used more times than I can count, which is this is the best way that I can get you results and still keep it free. It's the best of both worlds. I'd say that a lot of times it works. Note, if you explain the fees before you get the card, you'll get way more resistance and way more like, what about this? And why is this? If you explain it afterwards with the same, like, this is just how we've always done it attitude, people will agree, or they'll tend to agree at far higher likelihood. And the last point that I'll make is that I always have them initial next to each fee they're agreeing to. And so again, you don't want to have like 19 sets of fees. You want to have it as few things as that are important to you. So it'll usually be the sales consults they have to attend, whatever the key metric for them getting results are, and maybe them doing some advertising for you. Because remember, you're doing this for free. So they might as well do some advertising for you. They got to post, they got to, give you a testimonial at the end, whatever. So they have to agree to doing those things. If you're going to give a free trial, get some stuff for it. That's the whole point of this. If you're going to give, you should get. So that's step 4 is that we get the card, then we explain the terms, then we have them initial next to all the fees that are associated. We explain why we have the fees, which is for their benefit. It's the only way we can still ethically tell you that we could help you get results and keep it free, that we get the best of both worlds. Done. Great. So now, I like making the check-ins required. That's basically just an explanation of the fees. So I would say, all right, yep, and you agree to attend each of these 3 check-ins. The first time we do X so that you can. The second time we do Y so that you can. The third time we do Z so that you can. Obviously, we charge if you miss these 3 because it's the only way we can get your results. So this is me explaining how I would explain each of the kind of clauses that I'm having them initial next to. So this would be like the sales consults. Now, again, I'm not going to call them sales consults. I'd say, hey, you got to attend nutrition so that we can fix your food. You got to attend the progress meeting so that we can adjust the nutrition to keep the results coming. And you got to attend the transformation meeting at the end so we can get your after pictures. That should make sense, right? Yes. Okay, cool. Done. Right? This is like, there's not a lot to object to there. The question is, okay, well, how do trials make me money? So this is how I upsell from a trial. But everything I just went through is how my step-by-step process for selling a trial with penalty, which will get you far more customers and long-term commitment than just telling someone to put a card and wish for the best. So when someone takes a trial, one of 3 things happen. They like it, they hate it, or they don't use it. So here's how I upsell in each of those scenarios. So if they like it, this is the easy one. You already set them up for automatic billing because it's a trial. Great. So meet with them anyways during the transformation meeting or whatever meeting you want to have close to the middle or close to the end. And you still offer the longer term or higher value version of your service or both. All right. So again, they just didn't trust you enough in the beginning. So let's say you have 3 sales consultations where you sell different stuff or have potentials for upgrades. At the first and the second, you should still absolutely pitch the next thing because now they're in, they've had a taste. The whole dynamic can completely have shifted. All right. And so successful customers tend to get even more value um, out of your better and more profitable stuff. So it's ethical for you to make the offer to them. If you can help, help. Now, let's say they hate it. Turn the frown upside down. So ask them what they would have liked to be different. Tell them they're totally right and that you're angry at yourself for missing this. Do not blame them. Only one person can be angry, and it needs to be you. Ask if they'll give you a chance to make it up to them because of how outraged you are at their terrible experience. And now, since you better understand their needs, that they're a better fit for your new higher level thing, then offer them that. Yes, this is a sale. And yes, about half of people, believe it or not, buy this. They come in for this free trial. They wanted more everything, whatever. And you say, that's on me. I suck. I'm so pissed for you. That should never have happened. I should have offered you this, and that's because I didn't listen, and I should have listened better. So let me make it up to you. Sell this thing. Now, let's say they didn't use it. You reach out to people multiple times before you get to this point, ideally. But when you do that, you explain that you need to meet with them. You offer to waive the fees because remember they signed that they were going to do stuff. I don't want the $50 fees. Don't care at all. I do that just to hold them accountable. And I tell them that. I offer to waive the fee if they get back on track, right? So now you can get them back on track or again, offer something better. So I say, me personally, I don't like billing non-starters because it's like a great way to get 1-star reviews. I prefer not to have great ways to get 1-star reviews. And a small fee isn't worth that, but it's your choice. It's up to you. So I personally just use the fees as leverage to get them back in because that's where I'm going to get the long-term lifetime value. A couple other tidbits. So to tweak your trial to get the most customers. If no one takes your trial, lower the requirements or the priorities. If people take your trial but don't follow through, emphasize explaining how the fees help them and make sure that you include meetings as mandatory. Like you have to highlight it. That's why I have the little separate lines for them to initial and I walk through it with them. Don't let them read it. Explain each one, get them to nod, then initial. All right. If people don't stay on the back end, better emphasize the value of staying and paying. That's the early part where I said, hey, if we get you the results, would you stay? We added that back in to our scripting when I saw my guys weren't doing it and we weren't getting as many ascensions. We added it back in and then way more trials started ascending. Let people make up for goofs. So people often get discouraged after getting billed, but you can offer the opportunity to make it up. So this does a great job of getting people back on track and converting. But if they miss that, you're justified in billing them. So I don't see like if they miss something, you reach out again. You say, hey, I'll make it, I'll waive it. Just come back in. If they miss the next one, it's up to you. I usually don't, but that I think that is you're completely justified in billing at that point. In terms of naming, just call it a trial. Just say we do it in a special way. And the way we do it gets people results rather than not results. That's pretty much it. So even though the trial with penalty has some special features, you should just call it a trial. Otherwise, people may get scared or confused and no one wants to be penalized. All right. And if they ask you why you do free trials this way, just reply with, it's how I've always done it. Pay less now or pay more later versus trial with penalty. So I use pay less now or pay more later as a downsell for physical products or one-time services. I use trial with penalty as a downsell for recurring products or services. Also, I've only made this work in businesses where the customer has to do work to get results. So if you find other types of businesses that this works for, these trials where they don't have to do anything, let me know. For the most part, though, it's usually when somebody has to do something. Oftentimes, like software, you usually have to do a lot of stuff in the software. Services, it's common for customers to have to do a bunch of stuff. That's more normal. Discounts get card on file. So some people get weird when you offer free stuff and then ask for a card. And if you have a super low price, it justifies the card. So a small price means the card will probably work when automatic payments start. So instead of a free month, you might offer a first month for $1 or then X dollars per month when it recurs. And so if you want, you can offer for $1, $1 down, $10 down, whatever, if you have a hard time with it. Anybody who has any acumen in sales should never have an issue closing a free trial with a card. personally. Rebates are a little tougher, but they work the same way. You just get them to pay up front. So I consider rebates similar to win your money back, but usually for smaller, like smaller in scope. So just get them to do the thing you need them to do, and then they get the rebate. So that was kind of like the story that I gave with Layla. So she paid, $500. She had to attend 2 webinars or 3 webinars. Very clear, very small, very straightforward. That's where rebates are kind of nice. Rather than, billing. Because the thing is, the rebate, the card works because they paid for it and then they get it rebated, which is basically a rollover onto their service afterwards. So those are the important points. Quick summary. In a trial with penalty offer, customers can try our product or service for free so long as they meet your terms. Trial with penalty downsell offers get yeses from people who would have said no. To do them, you get the card, get the commitment, explain why they have to do it to get the results, the meetings they have to attend, and what happens if they don't do it. And use the same refund criteria from your win your money back, the attraction offer number 1, to create your trial with penalty criteria. This way, at the end of the trial, they've done the stuff that makes a great long-term customer, and they advertise your business for you. Breakup fees you can charge by criteria, or you can charge a lump fee. I like breaking them up. So you can either say it's $50 for each of these occurrences, or you can just say if you mess up any of these, you pay the full boat. I prefer the small dings because then people are like, oh, I missed one. Now I shouldn't even try, right? I don't like that. You make money by getting people results and turning them into customers, not nickel and diming them with fees. My personal opinion. So use mid-trial check-ins to make more offers. If they love it, give them more of what they love. If they have problems, swap it for what makes sense for them. If they aren't using it, offer the ability to make it up to avoid the fees. This style of trial converts as much or a much higher percentage on the back end, which is why I do them. It retains goodwill because you actually look like you're trying to help, which you are, and you get agreement before explaining the fees, just as a quick reminder because it's super important. And you can always do normal trial as a down sell and remove that, but at that point, I don't even think that person really is. They're just trying to leave. And remember, everyone buys something. That's free trials.